This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, August the 5th, in the year 2006, one of the most star-studded Hall of Fame classes in NFL history happened. 6 were named to the Hall of Fame. And they all were big in their own right. Two key Dallas Cowboys, a key Giant, a key coach of the Raiders, a key quarterback for the Houston Oilers, and a key defensive end for both the Eagles and Packers were in. 6 men got in. Big stories. Now, I'm going to do it from least important to most important in my mind. Of course, your list is going to be different than mine. That's fine. So anyway, Rayfield Wright was a key player of the Dallas Cowboys in the 1970s, playing for the Cowboys and getting to 6 Pro Bowls, 8 championship games, and 5 Super Bowls. Well, 8 NFC title games and 5 Super Bowls during his 13-season career with the Cowboys. Now, a lot of people don't really follow like offensive tackles as much as quarterbacks or running backs or even receivers. But the fact of the matter is that without the tackles, like doing all that, running backs can't run the ball up the field as much, or quarterbacks can't throw the ball or scramble out to throw a pass. So Rayfield Wright was a pretty good player. Harry Carson was a Giants icon, and a career that lasted from 1976 to 1988. He was there in the lean years when the Giants in the late 70s had a decent renaissance, but then that stupid miracle at the Meadowlands happened when Pasarchuk, all he needed to do was fall down on the ball, but he was told to hand it off to Larry Sonka, and we all know what happened there. But Harry Carson was there. The Giants looked dead, and then once Phil Simms and Lawrence Taylor were drafted, the Giants picked up ground. Harry Carson was the backbone to the Giants' linebacking core until LT came, and he helped the Giants win the Super Bowl in 1987. It's hard to pick who would be the lowest of the last 4 because of how star-studded it is, in my mind. Well, in my mind, it's gonna have to be John Madden, number 4. John Madden was hired as head coach of the Raiders at age 32, which is like, holy smokes, that young? I'm 38 at the time of this recording, and I haven't coached the NFL. But 32, wow. You know, John Madden was an icon and all that, helping Oakland become a formidable force in the AFC, alongside the Pittsburgh Steelers and Miami Dolphins. Yeah, him and the Raiders were good and all that. The black hole at Oakland Coliseum, not the Oakland Coliseum you think of now, but the Oakland Coliseum when it was open air and just didn't need to use too many football seats. Anyway, Madden won Super Bowl 11, was carried off the field by his players in that famous scene. All that. In 10 years, he would have a 759 regular season winning percentage, the highest of any coach with 100 career wins. 759, which basically means that he win 3 out of every 4 games in the regular season, just above that. Anyhow, Madden would retire a few years later. He always had the fear of flying and all that, so he would take the Madden Cruiser with him, that big bus, to every event that he went to as color commentator, with Pat Summerall being the play-by-play guy. Summerall and Madden were just fantastic at commentary and fed off each other. Anyway, Madden was a hero to many people, and of course he recently died. For me, it's gonna be Troy Aikman is next on the. I'll talk about Troy Aikman next. Troy Aikman was Dallas QB royalty. I mean, yeah, you have Roger Staubach and to a lesser extent Danny White. Sorry, Cowboy fans. But Troy Aikman was so highly touted. The Cowboys picked him number one in the 1989 draft. You know, that 89 draft was not shabby either. You had Barry and Deion Sanders in the top five alongside Aikman and I would say Derek Thomas. I think Derek Thomas. No, Derek Thomas couldn't have been top five, was he? Can't remember. But anyhow, I know Tony Mandrich was also there, and it's like, fuck. Anyway, Troy Aikman won 90 games in the 90s, making him the winningest quarterback of any decade in NFL history. I think at that point, by the notes I have, this thing was from 2006 when it came out. So obviously Tom Brady has done better, but Aikman was the 90s most successful quarterback. Aikman didn't start out that well. He actually not only helped the Cowboys get to a 1-15 mark in 1989, which was by far the worst in the NFL. However, Aikman wasn't even the starter when the Cowboys won over Washington. That was Steve Walsh. There was a quarterback controversy as Jimmy Johnson brought in his old quarterback from University of Miami, Steve Walsh, in the supplemental draft, which of course meant that the Cowboys did not have a first round pick in 1990. Those rules. So yeah, so Steve Walsh, yeah. But Aikman soon became better and better, and the Cowboys in the mid-90s were just formidable opponents. He was part of the triplets with Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin being good players and all that. Aikman got to 6 Pro Bowls. The second best guy in my mind is Warren Moon. Now, Warren Moon's career ended up being huge. Becoming one of the first black quarterbacks in the NFL was one thing. But the fact is, Moon didn't start his pro career in the NFL. He was a good quarterback for Washington. He wasn't like supernova, but he was good. He got Washington to the 1978 Rose Bowl when they beat Michigan, ruining Michigan's chances to be the number one team in the nation. But no NFL team wanted to draft him. I think a few people wanted to draft him as a defensive end, and he wasn't too happy with it. So Warren went up north to Canada in the CFL to play for the Edmonton Eskimos. And lo and behold, Moon and Tom Wilkinson were a good QB duo, helping Edmonton win 5 Grey Cups in a row. I know you're saying, oh, CFL football's easy, you only have 9 teams up there. But it's all about civic pride. And the fact is, compared to an NFL field, the CFL has longer yards. It's 110 yards from end zone to end zone, from end zone line to end zone line. And the end zones are deeper, 20 yards in the CFL, 10 in the NFL. So you have more room as a wide receiver in the CFL and all that for plays. But yeah, 5 straight Grey Cups, that's huge. No team has ever won 3 since the Eskimos. 3 straight since the Eskimos. Then Houston decided to take a gamble on him because Hugh Campbell, the coach of the Eskimos, actually got the job with the Oilers. So he went to Houston, helped Houston do well. They had playoff issues and all that. Moon left for free agency to Minnesota. Not much left. Then went to Seattle and Kansas City. But yeah, 49,000 yards. And got to 9 Pro Bowls in 17 years in the NFL. But by far the best player of the 2006 class was Reggie White. Reggie White was a defensive stalwart for the Eagles, Packers, and Panthers. Part of the 80s and 90s all-decade teams, which was amazing. Reggie knew what he had to do. The Eagles had great defense with him and Jerome Brown being pass rushers and all that. Unfortunately, Jerome Brown died in a freak car crash. And, well, the Eagles lost Reggie the next year to Plan B, free agency. He went to Green Bay, and Green Bay was back on the board. The Lombardi era would not be forgotten, but still, there'll be a new era with Reggie White and Brett Favre, and the Packers winning a Super Bowl and almost winning their 2nd straight before losing to Denver. Reggie White sadly passed away, I think it was 2003, I would like to say, but yeah, Reggie left the earth way too early. So there you have it, 6 very good Hall of Famers in one class. Amazing, isn't it? Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.